don't know what it is that's in the air at the moment, but I am starting to feel alive and magical again at last. Like an earth witch, like a goddess. I am planning to create herbal oils and salves, and I have planted my beans. I want everything to awaken mind, body and spirits. It's such a magical time of year around Beltane now, when the flowers are bursting out and the absolute beauty and miniature of every exquisite flower just gives me another little tiny thrill and another little tiny buzz. It's a time of year that is busy with gnomes, I think. An earthly awakening with deep slumbering gnomes. Now let me tell you about gnomes. I was in my kitchen the other day mopping my floor and I met a gnome. I was a little surprised. I wrote it down in my journal and here's what I wrote and thought about the matter. But there he was, all of a sudden, appearing in my mind. You see, I was in the kitchen mopping the floor when I was thinking to myself that if I only had hot water on tap, you see, because I live the old ways and I fill the kettle if I wants to boil water. And then I thought to myself, by gum, that's the bargain. If I get hot water and a modern new eco-friendly boiler that maybe boils up hot water on tap, then I shall mop my floor every day. And that's when popped up a gnarly old gnome. I was a little surprised. Will you? Said the voice. The long dangly legs crept closer, but his face still hung in the shadows. Will you really? Think carefully about what you answer. I sensed him lurk, lingering in the dark, bright-eyed and long-nosed. Believe me, I thought carefully about my bargain of mopping the floor every day. Well, I said maybe as much as I remember to, maybe as much as is possible, but maybe not exactly every day. I was thinking I'd want a day off now and then. Maybe every other day, or no, maybe as much as reasonably can be done, bearing in mind the best idea is that of mopping it every day. The gnome nodded and coughed and swung back to the shadows. I don't know if he ultimately accepted the bargain, but if I do get my wish, I will have to carefully think of my side of it about mopping the floors. So this is what I thought and wrote down about gnomes in my journal. Gnomes exact bargains. They hold you to account on behalf of the earth, the animals, the welfare of the whole beingness of everything. They are grumpy and unpleasant as much as they want to be, but will be awakened by some cause. But beware, they will demand integrity on your behalf. Gnomes look after an area on many planes, but gnomes exact a price. But it's for the benefit of all, usually, and if they can make a fit bargain, then they can actually work for your benevolence. So, I thought a quick explanation of what I'm doing. This is a cupboard that I bought, can't remember, very cheap, and it took me a long time to paint it up green, and then I slowly put these decorations all around the edge, and then I thought, well, I'd like to finish up. I thought I'd maybe like to change the direction a bit after a while. I got bored of it. And so I decided that I wanted it to be like my special cupboard because it is where I kind of store a lot of paraphernalia, anything I found, feather or rock. And it becomes a bit of an altar, all my little secret stash I tend to put in this cupboard. So I thought that I would like to paint it up in bright and colourful protective colours and with flower designs which are always traditionally protective, and make it into a spirit cupboard, which I kind of feel is a folk tradition that will maybe have bypassed a bit this sort of special folk art painted cupboard as maybe a centrepiece of the house, as maybe a kind of altar.
They take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun. As she puts her hand in mine.
And it seemed that it was a little bit nomadic in that sense. You know, this bright, colourful, protective design, a little Indian, a little sort of European. And some kind of bright protective flower. Now flowers have their meanings, like maybe some roses here, this is a tulip, maybe this is a rose in the middle. And I'm just trying to chalk on a design, wondering whether to paint it a light blue, leave that green as a border. Green and blue are a bit dodgy sometimes, and making a different shape in the centre kind of flattens that out a little. Yeah, the idea is that the evil spirits get entangled in the knotwork, in the little leaf designs, in the dots, and the bright warding off tulips, bright, vibrant vitality of the flowers. Some kind of geometrical design maybe. It'd be nice to put a simple design in the middle. It'd be nice to put a geometrical design in maybe. But I want to go for a bunch of flowers because when I've done this, I kind of want to do floral. But the colours are a little clashing. This could have been red and that would tone it all down a bit. We paint this black in the cupboards. Maybe just add brushes of colour on there to tie it together and make it colourful. Anyway, yeah, so it's been a while. Actually, it's taken a long time to do this. I started about 4 or 5 years ago maybe. I painted it green, then I painted flowers on it. Then I left it for ages. And then the green rubbed off, so I went and bought some more green and painted it green again. Thought I'd love to do a design on that door, but left it. And then I thought I'd put these edges on just to sort of change the colour scheme. And that's led on to this very busy and vibrant and happy, sort of powerful, protective design. Do a few ideas, sketch them out just by feel, and then maybe draw up some little designs. To do that, I have one about now, and then I'm about to try and just try the colours together because I'm very nervous about that, and then hold it up and see what I think about it. So I'm going to do some practice run. Ancestral grandfathers. That's the way I see them. It's a deep ancestral line of going way back into the distant past, the long line of grandfathers that have ultimately become the earth herself, and are now gnomes and dwarves and maybe some kind of whites, but they're all connected in many ways. Gnomes are earthly. They have a gentle humour, they're light of foot, but they're secretive and silent and sullen and keep away from humans. Unless, of course, they may find that you are trying to strike a bargain with the earth.
Date of those climate changes. It gave them an accurate timescale for dating the human fossils found alongside the rodent bones.
These are rodent bones that were found while sieving carefully the dirt from the cave.
The new date was startling. It meant that the modern-looking fossils were in fact 100,000 years old.
Understanding of the relationship between Neanderthals and modern humans. With the new
Grid.
races all mixed together, very much like what we find hybridized populations today.
Quarter. For well over 100 years, the story of human evolution has been dominated by the bone hunters.
So, I don't know exactly why I bring this up. Gnomes, ancestors, ancestor shrines and little sacred cupboards, little altars to those ancestors, and traditional patterns, traditional designs, traditional energy. So immediately, I'm liking the idea of putting red on that green as a background for flowers. That's quite bold. And maybe taking the outside to a kind of sponged red. I mixed a red and a green on the side. It's quite a soft red. And maybe taking that red into the centre and tying it together with that yellow. But I'm going to try these two colours anyway. Okay. That's a very thin paint. It would complement the yellow. It's trying to get harmony in colours, isn't it? It's said that you need a complementary, your eye wants to find a complementary colour somewhere. So if you've got a yellow, it's going to look for a blue. There's lots of colour theory, or you can use three colours that are close together. Sort of a complementary red and green with a third colour of yellow. It's all on a colour chart somewhere. Hello? I don't know what Willow makes of it. What do you think, Willow? I don't think she likes the blue. Okay, so everything's upside down and you can't see me at all. I can do that. Okay, so I've just got a plate, maybe 2 plates, but I'm only doing a small part. Slightly damp sponges, but not too wet because I don't want to wet the paper too much. Then I'm going to mix the red and the green while they're still wet, because I want that kind of blend together, and I've let the green dry obviously, so making sure that I don't trip up over them. Put this, try and squash that bit in. So I put little blobs of blue tack on the corners, trying to keep the shape. I'm going to start with the red and just dab it into the paint and then dab it onto a clean bit of paint and try and get it thin and even. Then you just have to go for it. There's that bit. Just lightly, you're going to start on one edge. Well, I like the way that is coming at the moment. See, this is always an experimental path. I'm just going to get a little bit stronger there so I can show you a blend. So that's one way, I quite like that as it's coming up. Just go down here. Well, I've got Hearth done. Nice so you can do it evenly. I'm just going to add a little bit of the green in. Spread that out on the sponge a little more. And that's getting a little bit wet, that paper. I'm going to watch it. So that is giving me a marbled look. I'm going to go with that. That paper's wrinkling a lot, so I'm going to stop soon and avoid that bit. Okay, kind of like where that's going. Right, I think I should stop while it's still wet. Let that dry completely and then pray. And that helped with very streaky paintwork I had. It's kind of touch dry, so I'm going to go for it. Oh, okay. Being very careful not to pull off designs, not to pull off paint. I'm going to let that dry in a second before I pull off the blue tack. Just about get it. Just gently going to peel that off. So it's gone kind of purple next to the yellow. It's a rich colour. So there it is. It's kind of shoot, that was a bit hard to show you it all. It's gone much more purple on the door, whereas the sides are much more red. It's kind of the contrast, and I like that it added another colour in there. And I'm leaving that design on to think about it for a while. Obviously you can see how chalk is not easy to get that in the centre with chalk, so I might make a stencil with the shape I've got, and then I can somehow try and stencil it on there, maybe with chalk, maybe with carbon paper. I want to add some tangy oranges, and I kind of like the way that yellow looks now. It does contrast the purple, so it's loud and colourful, and it evolves. That's the point of a spirit cupboard. It's got blood red on, so it has life. I might seal the top like I've sealed the bottom with a kind of red coat of paint, and that gives it life. And then I might paint the centre black so it's more mysterious. I just want to point out the key. I love that it has a little key, because to me that is opening a magical doorway. I've got both keys, but I've taken one out to paint it quite easily around the lock there. So magical doorways. I've got to admit, this is a slow growing hobby. You've got to have a lot of patience, and it's sort of just an ongoing pottering. I started to paint that at sort of like midnight last night. I like it, it's gone, you can see how dirty the glass is now. It's become a bit more mysterious, the reflection in the glass. It's lovely when it's dark. I did miss that when I painted it white. It's a little mirror as well. So I kind of like that. It makes the room a bit darker in the corner though. Blah, blah. So now, I'm just going to add finishing touches. Some colour. It's a little too purple, but I think I'm going to put a red flower on it to try and make it red. It might work. And a gold border with a little orange inlay. And maybe some dots. I like the dots. The dots really pull together sections of the cupboard. And jolly and keep it bright. So this is where I should actually just go like this. And it all changes. So obviously all of the work is on the bottom. I touched up a bit on the sides here, put a few dots on. I'll pick up the camera and I'll improve the lighting. I've added a lot of decor to this and it's beginning to look a little jangly. I'm not sure about the flowers, but I think I'm going to leave them now. I like the purple that complements the yellow, kind of tones that front down. It kind of adds another dimension to the cupboard. And I've added some borders. Lots of different colours and some decor, just a little bit. And maybe, I'm not sure about some orange dots. I like the space that creates just that simple border. I'm not sure about the flowers, the leaves, I can't do leaves. But it's working. Then it's nice to just add a few colours, details on the edges. Clean the glass with vinegar. I've kind of brought some dark green in to kind of bind it together as a unit, and then thrown in some break the rules just to keep it lively. A random pink and a random orange there. Some of the paint is wearing off a little. It's kind of giving it a worn look, a folk, that real folk chalk paint look. I'm not entirely happy with the design, but I like the idea of trying a little bit of simple rose mailing, and I do like these grasses and leaves, so I'd like to work with what I've got there rather than start the whole thing again, and maybe just move some of those flowers delicately. So because I don't want a solid line, I've tried the tricky technique, which I'm going to try now, which is, you know when you rub pencil on the back of paper and then you get biro and write over the on the front, and it leaves a pencil mark. Well, pencil mark's a bit dark on green, so I've tried chalk. Of course it leaves a really fine line that you have to be careful not to rub out too much. But I think I'll try that way first, and then maybe a carbon paper would leave a blue line on a green. That's not so bad. So there are two ways going about this. I'm going to transfer the design I've already sort of prepared onto the front of that door, and then the fun is, can I pull it off? Can I paint it? And will it all go wrong? So I'm going to forget that.
bronco ready to go. Bucket, the world is full of cowboys. You win some, you lose some. Lovers and the dreamers, the rockers and the wrestlers, all come together at the Red Dirt Rodeo. But no one by your side. Oh, we cannot decide if we're better off this
going to be boiling hot coffee. Drum. Hey, hello. Hi, sausage. Come on, off you go. So how to start this, because it's been weeks since I was last here. So ta-da! Suddenly the battery died and I did a lot of work without filming it, so it's kind of an updated version. Excuse my hay fever. Spring is bursting out, there are flowers everywhere and I can't breathe. So yeah, it's kind of done. I think I could mess about with it a bit more. I kind of like the way it is. I put a little bit more pink, kind of all went pink here, so I've accentuated the pink and kind of brought a different colour in, put some orange spots on, a little pink line here, a little pink one there, just to try and square off those reds, and then a red border here to kind of bring that out as well. Ouch. And I'm happy with it. It could have been worse, it could have been better, but I'm happy with it. It was its own thing, so it's not perfect. I kind of put these, hello. Yeah, I know you're hungry, go away. Eat pouches all morning, go on. So yeah, I put these little white sort of sprays just to fill out the space on there. I've got to admit that's a little weird from distance. And then I have kind of just picked out blue a little bit more, just added a few lighter edges to pick out details. I had fun with it. I really enjoyed doing it. I liked how these leaves turned out in the end, because that was a challenge. So meet every challenge. I would have changed it, maybe I could have sanded all of this off, sponged it all over again, made it the perfect colour, put a lovely practised rose on there, but I thought I'd just work with it as it was, and then it kind of evolved in a different way to what I'd expected, so just covering up my mistakes as best I could, really. It's lovely because it's a tribal thing. I think if you look at our culture, we've got very bland living kind of environment. We have some greys and we have some beiges and we have neutrals and light and airy, which is nice. But I think every tribal society had a very unique, colourful expression, and that sometimes there's a place for that still somewhere. And it's kind of a maximalist minimalism. You wouldn't want a lot of it, maybe. I like that it's kind of ancestral. It's kind of German, Swiss, Alpine. I'm not really sure. I just like the way it's kind of European folk art. And that's kind of an ancestral tradition to me, especially German, you know, Germanic folk art. I think they painted everything in Germany. I think, like, kind of in Bavaria, it was everything they painted. And it was all like this kind of stuff, so I love it, really. And I've always wanted one, and why not? Why not make one? So the only thing left to do now is to put my sticks, my stones, and some precious little crystals and rocks in it. So I will do that. I'll do that now. So this is a little chest of treasures, really. I'm going to put my treasures in there. Some I can hide away. The little secret door. I've got some things in there. I shouldn't have painted the black over the white because it kind of scratches a little. and maybe sanded it a bit more, but it's kind of in. I might have to touch it up. And yeah, and then there are a couple of shelves up on this part for display. Just tend to tip while it's empty. So I'm watching the door. So, without spilling coffee, I bring us a stick. I'm going to put my stick in my stick cupboard. Because I like that stick. I've also got a very nice piece of C1 flotsam and jetsam. I'm going to put that in there. It's kind of gnarly. And then maybe it wants something to funk it up. So I like mushroom, but I want to introduce summer. So I wonder if I can I do have these funky pumpkins. So I like the colour. Maybe I'll put those a little further down. Down here I'm going to put my fun little skull and this kind of slightly squashed crystal tree. Maybe prop it up a little. And for the fun of it, I kind of like this guy behind the stairs like you. And something to balance there. I kind of need a gnome. I kind of like this little guy. And put him in, put the stag in. Kind of like that. This is a bit too autumny. I don't know what to bring that up with. Flowers. And if I just move those maybe. And I'm drawn to that. It's an celestial crystal, which is it is a bit dusty, to be honest. It's very light and bright, and it connects to your guides astrally, kind of out in the cosmos. So, oh wait, I think I need to honour this little owl here a bit more. Okay, and maybe because I like him, little bear. Maybe just move that crystal. Put that there. I'm going to put, oh god, so, oops. My dragon stick, my snake stick, some crystals, bones, gnomes, and flowers. So that's finished, and I'm very happy with it. I think it was worth the time. It took a lot of energy, it took a lot of dedication and love. It's made a few mistakes, something I might touch up again. I might put the orange line back in a bit there, and when it's dry I'm going to varnish it so it doesn't all wear off. I'm going to use the water-based varnish because that kind of goes wrong. So I might use a thin coat of solvent-based varnish just to cover it up. And then it will be preserved for posterity. I can't say that. It will be preserved for prosperity or not. But it's fun. It's just a little bit of my soul, and it's, you know, it's tribal, it's traditional, it's got a little bit of me that has made this cupboard unique. So between us, we've created this kind of object, a very personal object. I like it. It sits in the corner. I had to move a lot of furniture out of the way to make that sort of less busy, but I like it. You can see lots of things that I kind of half-heartedly started there. So sweet. Yeah, it evolved, and it's definitely unique. I kind of like it. My taste. Excellent. Okay, put the sofa back. Tidy up a bit. Love it.